Hey, Nicholas, this is Iva over at Morning on the Mountain. How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you, Iva?
I could not be more overjoyed to talk to you this morning. I was so looking forward to it. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Are you kidding? I'm so glad to do it, and I've been so looking forward to my conversation with you. So we're in the same boat, just in different cities right now.
Oh, well, let's first go into because I did a deep dive on on Nicholas Ma, and I'm just
Oh no.
oh, I did, and it was so cool. I was like, oh, he is so cool. He got out of like government relations or strategy and global markets or whatever you were doing and went into film and television doing cool stuff. So I'm a big fan right now.
Oh well, I'm so excited to be with you in person in just a couple days. So that'll be great.
I know. Well, tell me how this American Revival project I love because we all need to love one another and get along. I mean, that's what we should do. What started that with you?
Yeah, I had made a movie a couple years ago called Leap of Faith about these pastors in Grand Rapids, Michigan. 12 pastors coming together over the course of a year to find out whether they could actually get along, or, to put it in scriptural terms, do all things hold together in Christ or not. And it was a big question for them. This is sort of at the core of their faith and their relationship to each other, and it wasn't so clear what the outcome was going to be. But there's something about spending time together, about being physically with somebody else, that allows you to see past all the words, all the language that you might have applied to them, and to see the soul of the person behind that.
Wow.
And I think that when you do that, when you can see into someone's soul and see how they, like you, are just trying to find a way to get through the day, to get through the year, to be a good husband, a good wife, a good parent, a good child, you realize that our ability to help one another to be the best of who they are is much greater than our ability. It is an unstoppable power that we have and that we all share.
Well, there seems to be a bunch of people who believe like you do. You've got quite the crew behind you.
We feel very, very lucky to have a pretty good crew coming to Grundy. But I think part of the reason that they're so excited to come is because of the work that's been happening in Grundy, right? I feel like, in a way, you all have been piloting what the rest of the counties in this country should be thinking about, which is, what does it mean if we listen to each other and figure out what we need collectively? What does it mean to say, okay, well, we need a space to get together. We have this big empty high school. Why don't we try to create a community center out of it? We have this question around water. We have this question around housing. What does it mean for us to come together and see how we can tackle that as a community for ourselves? And I think that that's just so admirable that, it was an easy question for people when I said, hey, look, this is this amazing place. Would you come down and be a part of this? And folks like T-Bone Burnett, my father, Yo-Yo Ma, and Abigail Washburn, lots of people came through and said, yeah, you know what, I want to do this. This makes a ton of sense. This is what I want to believe in. This is what I want for my community, wherever I'm from, wherever I live.
Oh, that is just so hard. Oh, it makes me almost want to cry. Has your dad played in the caverns yet?
I don't think he's ever played in the caverns, but I think once he plays there once, he'll want to come back
I,
again.
I'm telling you, it is sublime. It is an experience for a musician. I can't wait to hear him.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so glad. Yeah, no, I think, places, the sort of the natural acoustics of places like that, to me, are always such a reminder that, that the sort of the natural beauty around us has secrets to offer us that we may not even see. I mean, I feel like that's true of the caverns in general, right? It's like
Hmm.
you could be walking on top of something and not realize just what's right below your feet, and
Hmm.
that's kind of amazing. It sort of is a reminder for us to sort of wake up and look around and sort of see each other and see the world around us.
What made you start? Like, was there a certain thing that happened that you're like, oh my gosh? What was the process for this grand adventure?
Grand adventure, yeah, maybe foolhardy adventure. I don't know. We'll find out. But I made a movie a number of years ago in 2018 called "Won't You Be My Neighbor" with a dear friend and colleague Morgan Neville about the life of Fred Rogers.
Love him. Of that age, sir.
There you go. He's the best, right? And
Amen.
at the end of that movie, I'd take it around the country, and people would often be quite emotionally moved by it, and that was great. Excited to hear his message again, and they say things like, where are the Fred Rogers of today?
Mhm.
And that was a really poignant question because I didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I just made this movie about this guy, and the most pressing question afterwards, I'm there sort of dumbfounded and not quite sure how to respond.
Yeah, because it was a pretty neat documentary. It had some good numbers and wonderful reception. So obviously it resonated.
Yeah, I think it really did, and I think it resonated at a time in our country, which it seems sort of quaint 8 years ago to talk about us feeling really divided as a country, but it's certainly something that we all feel even more now, where we're sort of afraid to strike up a conversation in a coffee shop or on the street or in the supermarket because we're not sure whether we're going to get along with the person. I think Fred really was the person who took the word neighbor and said, I want every kid to know the word neighbor
Mm,
before, they know pretty much anything else.
mm.
And Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was what he called his program. And I think in a way it was this reminder to me as I sort of sat with that really hard question of like, where are the Fred Rogers of today? That Fred wasn't trying to be Fred Rogers, right? The television
Yeah, yeah,
personality.
yeah,
Fred was trying to be a neighbor
yeah.
and trying to look after his neighborhood. And I think that Fred would sort of, if I were to, when I try to channel what Fred might have said to me in that moment, or what I would hope that I can say to myself, it's really, how can I not be the Fred Rogers of today, but be the best Nicholas Ma that I can be? How can we each find, as Fred would say, be true to the best within us, because if we do that, if we're true to the best within us, and then that sort of light shines out from us to other people and gives them the courage to be true to the best within them too. And I think sometimes when I think about music, when I think about the power of music, it's a power to sort of locate that thing inside you and to sort of sit with it and sort of say, oh wow, there is this part of me that I love, that I care about, that is precious and wonderful and deserves to be in the world. And then when you look around and you realize that you don't know who any of these 800 other people are in the caverns, but you realize that they're all having a similar experience at the same time.
Mm.
I don't know. There's something powerful about realizing just how much of humanity is shared, And that doesn't mean that things aren't hard and issues aren't difficult and that we don't disagree and all of that's still true. But at the core, if we can sit together, as total strangers for an hour and a half and look around and realize that now we share something that we may not even share with our best friends and family who are not there. We're sharing this with strangers. There's something powerful about what that means we can be to each other if we're willing to take a little bit of a risk.
Wow. That's deep, and that's walking in the hands and feet of Jesus. What where else are you going with this adventure?
Well, we really, Tennessee is an important place to me. My in-laws live in Tennessee. It's an important place to my dad. I think he fell in love with it when he was playing here a couple years ago, and just sort of the natural beauty both of the place, but also the inherent warmth and kindness of the people. And so we're coming back to Tennessee in April and May, and we'll be in Chattanooga and we'll be in Memphis. And I think, for me, the opportunity to say, hey, look, how can we take great work that's already going on and shine a light on it to give people the inspiration and courage to take on great work wherever they are? There's a lot of that happening in the state, and I think we want to make sure that we get a chance to help support that. So we'll be back in Tennessee in April and May. We'll be in Utah in September. We'll probably be in Maine in October. So we're rolling this out across the country and looking for communities that are interested. We just got a call in the other day from Portland, Oregon, saying, "Hey, we really need this. We really need this. Is there any chance that you could come by here in Portland and put on a revival here?" And it was really inspiring to me to hear people say, "Hey, this is something that could help us. Can you come and be a part of that with us?"
Oh man, well we love revivals in these neck of the woods, buddy.
Right? You know, I mean, that's the thing. I think it's so interesting. You know, like I live in Brooklyn, New York, right?
Yeah.
And here, when I say the word revival, I get the hairy eyeball from people being like, I don't know, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Revivals are an American tradition, right? This is this is how we've come together for hundreds of years to sort of find out, like, to sort of ask ourselves the big, deep moral questions of what do we mean to ourselves, what do we mean to God, what do we mean to, you know, whatever we sort of see out there in the world that's bigger than us? Like, what do we mean? How do we mean it to each other? And I feel like we need a revival. I don't think there's anybody, no matter where you live in this country, who thinks that, like, we've nailed it. You know,
Yeah.
we're batting 1,000. I don't think that's true. I think we're all sort of like, I feel like there's something better around the corner. How do we get there, and how do we get there together? I think that's a mystery that you know, I'm excited for us to tackle, you know, county by county, as neighbor by neighbor.
Yeah, what was that number 3142? Was that it?
3142, yeah, it's the number of counties in the country. 3,142, and this wonderful organization that we've been working with, millions of conversations, based out of Tennessee. You know, was working with folks in Grundy over the past number of years with the We See Hope initiative to sort of figure out what are the things that people here want and need and think would make a difference to creating a better future for themselves and their children. And, you know, when you think about that, all of a sudden, you know, we're all sort of sitting on the same side of the table asking the same questions and coming up with similar answers. And so, you know, when we found out that the 3142 group here had said they really need more community center space, we said, okay, well, why don't we just make the revival about, you know, helping to finish up the Lytel Parton Center and make sure that that community space exists.
I mean, seriously, we have a big history of music and folklore and storytelling. That's a Southern Appalachia thing, and I'm sure in different places. Music just fits, and to do it for our old alma mater for performing arts and community functions is just amazing. So incredibly thankful.
Oh, well, I'm so glad. I mean, you know, we're going to be there the next day from on the 31st from 1 to 5:30. You know, with a range of organizations that are doing great work in the community, folks from South Cumberland Park to Housing Hub to the Food Bank to the Junior Appalachian Musician Kids of Grundy. We'll have music from Jam Kids of Grundy. Abigail Washburn's going to be there. We're going to be screening episodes of Mr. Rogers. Free food from Mike and Betsy's Barbecue, and culminating at 4 with presenting this gift from the caverns to the Lytel Parton Center, and square dance and jam band from a bunch of folks. So it's going to be a party. So if you can't come on Friday, I would say come for the free food and for the great music and for the celebration of community the next day on Saturday from 1 to 5:30. And if you want to dance, come between 4 and 5:30 because we're going to have a little bit of a square dance. So
oh my gosh, that's the party. We love revivals, I'm telling you. All right, sir, have we missed anything? Once again, gosh, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm so grateful for your taking an interest in this and putting this on your show. I'm a great admirer of you and sort of the seriousness of which you sort of make sure that people know what's happening in their community, right? There's an absence of local news across the country, and I feel like you can find out what's happening in Grundy thanks to you. So I'm so grateful for that and so excited to meet you in person.
Oh, I am looking forward. Well, thank you for your time and safe travels, and we'll see you soon.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.